Hello and welcome to episode 79 of I'm Fine, a chat between myself, Damo, and someone I've not seen in almost a week, Mark.
Long time no see.
It is, yeah.
Thanks to my incompetence.
Hardly recognised you. This is a chat around the subjects of health, wealth, well-being, fitness, sport, recipe ideas, short stories, nostalgic confectionery, knitting patterns, goat herding, sex, drugs, no rock, just the roll, snacks, hacks and six-packs, tips, tricks, and getting a fucking grip.
Sounds like the Michael Barrymore rap.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this?
No?
Oh, we'll play it sometime.
Sounds awful. I don't think I want to hear it.
He had there's a clip going round on his show, like it's called something like Michael Barrymore Does Music or something. I don't know.
Right.
Destroys music. But he had a gospel band on called Remission, which I don't think is a good name for any band.
No.
But between each sort of chorus, he does a Coolio rap.
No.
With new words on.
No.
But there's other things that happen, which I might mention later on. I've just been hearing about it on a...
Sounds horrendous. We're a work in progress, and this podcast is no exception. Sure, it's a poke at our perfectly imperfect lives, and if we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this madness, then our work here is done. Please subscribe to us and blah, 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 blah.
Do
blah,
stuff.
Blah, blah. Yeah. Coming up, what have we got? Warm up and stretch, catch up. We've got a whole week's worth of catching up, Mark. Work-life ballet, motivation and accountability.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So you're looking brown, Mark. You're looking tanned. You're wearing your tight clothes again, which is good. Back to normal.
Yep. Yeah, I've been wandering the moors.
Have you?
Oh. Wandering around Dartmoor.
Yeah. You find anything? Find the Bodmin Beast?
Almost got the Bodmin Beast.
No, it's not. It's
That's probably Bodmin Moor, I'm guessing. I don't know.
Exmoor Beast. Yeah, I mean, it's all the same. All joins
up,
isn't it?
Here we go. Arthur Conan Doyle was inspired to write The Hound of the Baskervilles after visiting Dartmoor.
Right.
This is why our numbers are going up.
Is this a joke? I was waiting for the rest of it. Oh, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, yeah. Actually, it's quite a moving down there, isn't it?
Quite.
Moving,
yeah.
Kind of stirring.
I went and looked at the prison.
I was going to say, did you kind of look at the front door?
I've almost wanted to go in and go,
remember me
with the mushrooms?
Yeah.
I did leave a few. I left a fucking container in another prison. Did I tell you about this?
I think you did, like a shipping container.
Shipping container. We got it.
That's a bit careless of you.
We got it craned in.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if you're leaving, I'm like, I'm going to crane that bad boy out. It just sounds like work.
Yeah.
And probably at your expense.
But when it was craned in, they craned it in to start with, put it down and had some footings and foundations. And then someone came out, one of the governors came out and went, "It can't go there.
Can't park that there, mate."
And we were all going, "Why?" And he went, "Because they could jump from there over the fence." So there's a 12-foot fence with barbed wire at the top.
Right by the fence, right by the...
And if you were fucking Bob Beeman,
yeah,
you could take.
Have you got a more up-to-date reference, Mark, for those who were born this century?
Well, who's more up-to-date than Bob Beeman in the world of triple jumping?
Jonathan Edwards. Craig Rutherford.
Do you mean Greg? His brother?
Yeah, him.
The long jumper.
Same fucking thing. Craig. It's the same thing.
Anyways, so we had to shift it a couple of feet because they reckoned that the residents... Oh, actually, they're not residents. What are they called now? Wayner told me. They're not allowed
Guests.
to be... No, it might be residents, actually.
Guests not allowed of Her Majesty.
Yeah, they're not allowed to be told. And you can't swear at them anymore, and you can't call them by their surnames. Prisoners, this is.
Oh, so you've got to be polite to them and call them by their first name and good morning.
I think they're called...
Good morning, John. How's it all going? Rather than, Credo, get up, you scumbag.
You slag.
I don't know where that came
Happy
from.
days.
Yeah. So, is there anything special about the door? Have we talked about the door? Oh, it's just a door. Is it a big door?
Yeah, it's like
door?
On...
So one of those
porridge.
UPV porridge.
When they open the big door and they go through. Yeah, it's big and wooden. And because it's Napoleonic, they had...
I was saying, is it like a castle? Isn't it like a old proper... Well, being Napoleonic, I guess it'd be old and fortified.
I guess it's like 1700s because Napoleonic wars were like 1812 or something.
I can't even be asked to look that up.
Just after 6.
Yeah. So didn't find you suspicious you wandering around?
You're allowed to.
With your phone.
You're allowed to. It's like these people filming outside police stations. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
They just film and wait for a copper to come out and go, what are you doing?
He's got an Instagram account.
Yeah.
He just goes, I'm allowed to film. And I'm like, you are, but you've been really annoying.
He's going like, you got an issue with it?
But he's just like, yeah, what? Can I have your, then he goes, can I have your number? Can I see your identity card? And they're like, oh God, he's here every day.
That is where if you were someone coming out, it's no. All he wants you to do is be confrontational.
Yeah, just go,
So
hey,
come
doing?
out and-
Yeah, just be nice to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take him a cake.
He'll go away then.
Yeah, and then you can't show that video because he doesn't want to show the video of the police being nice. So.
Absolutely right. They haven't cottoned on.
Mm.
What else you get up to? Anything? Do you any running across the moors?
Didn't run. I ran. Well, I skirted some cows after last year's experience.
Oh, what? Okay,
You know, I was
the
attacked by cows.
Attacked. Hold on. Were you
Yes, seriously.
attacked? Come
Yes.
on. You mean they might have moved slightly aggressively?
No, moved. No, they ran at me. I had to leap over a barbed wire fence. I got.
But you never have you talked about this on the pod? That's brilliant content. How are you leaving it to now?
I put it on
Have
an
you
Insta story when I put cartoon faces on the cows. Can you not remember?
Hardly. What? They attacked you?
Yes,
Whatever.
they were bullocks, heifers.
Let me rude.
It's like boy cows. We've had this discussion before.
Bulls.
Cows without udders and without willies.
Cows with cocks.
Yeah.
Without what? What's some kind of in between, like
Don't they-
hermaphrodite? I don't know.
Self-seeding
Some
cows.
kind of transgender bovine. Is that what we're talking about? I don't know what you're on
They
about.
attacked me, like seriously went for me.
Did
I
they?
could-
Did they actually
heard of
touch
them.
you?
They were within, I could like see
mean-
their nostrils flaring.
I can see a nostril at 20 paces.
And their cows, I was covered in cow spit. Literally, I leapt over.
Covered in cows. This is
Yeah.
getting better.
I was drowning in frothing.
You didn't put that on
phlegm.
You didn't put that on Instagram.
I've even got a picture of that. I literally leapt over this barbed wire and it ripped through my quad.
All right. We're on a quad bike. What are you doing on that? this story's getting
It's the only way I could get away from the cows.
Yeah,
They
speed.
chased me and I broke into a shop, got a
Yeah,
quad bike
okay,
and finally got away from them.
Yeah, okay. Good.
Yeah, that's a
Doesn't
real
sound
story. That was in
far-fetched at all.
lockdown 1.
All right. So nothing happened on this trip.
No, but there were cows there that could have attacked
Right,
me.
they could have. Right. Okay. But everything was fine. Nothing to... We're desperate for content, Mark. Come on, make this... Just make something up.
Part of it was quite boggy.
Okay.
Um,
Did you just kind of think for a minute you might sink and then no one see you?
I had a new pair of walking boots, and we discussed this when I went down to Devon, didn't I, last year? And I was walking in my shorts and flip-flops.
Oh, so you actually invested in some proper
Yeah.
boots?
Yeah,
And you fucked them up already, have you?
they were good. Adidas.
Adidas walking boots?
Yeah,
All right.
brilliant.
So I think you could run in them as well. That's what... Who gets Adidas walking boots? You get Peter Storm or High Tech or something.
I'm a brand ambassador.
Yeah, true. That reminds me. I was in M&S again
Yeah.
at the weekend.
You were into
So-
M&S again.
What? Yeah, that's right. S&M.
Yeah,
I see what you did. I was just helping the listeners out.
yeah.
Um,
It's an anagram.
looking at some comfortable trousers again.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my mind on some elastic right.
Ah,
Right, I know what you were going to say, and it occurred to me while I was looking at these trousers.
yeah.
They're not like Farrah's with stretchy waistbands. I'm not
Mhm.
quite there yet. These are kind of jeans, but they're kind of stretchy, right? Yeah, relaxing when you've had a big pizza, you know. But you were saying, I think your words were, shoot me, when I was talking. That's what I said when...
Oh, if I
basic-
get anything
yeah.
from M&S,
You would rather be shot than have anything certainly
not be on
elasticated.
trend.
Then
Yeah.
I was just thinking, you literally live in elasticated clothes, Mark. You cannot... You've very
Yeah.
rarely seen in... Right? Look at you. You've literally been held in by all the elastic, right? I was just...
Yeah.
It just dawned on me in this...
There's more
sort of
plastic on
what?
me than in the oceans.
Yeah. I was thinking, what a hypocrite. Honestly.
Yeah,
you are
but
Mr.
there's
You're
elasticated
Mr.
and
Elastic.
elasticated, isn't there? Well, the Incredibles.
No, there's no difference. It's... What? Oh, Elastigirl.
Yeah.
Yeah. You keep referencing that film. It's probably because the only one you've seen.
Mm.
So anything else that new? So you walked on the moors and that was nice.
We had the lads' weekend. I told them I was taping the whole thing on voice recorder.
Right.
I wish I had.
Yeah.
It'd be a long pod.
Yeah, you
but-
didn't. Yeah, you didn't record anything. No content.
No,
Well,
I
it was,
just-
well, it was nice to know they missed me and it was a shit weekend
They-
because I wasn't there. I mean, that's nice to know.
They
That's
did
nice
miss
to
you.
hear.
There was a lot of love for you, actually.
Oh,
They were
thank
very
you.
caring. Yeah, it was a caring weekend, actually, by their standards. What we're going to come on to later, I think, when we're talking about motivation and accountability, is that we went to Bournemouth, which is a sort of shining light of holiday resorts, isn't it? It's not seen as sort of...
Well, it's not your Burnham-on-Sea. It's a little bit
I would
more
ra-
at
oh,
market.
God.
Would you rather have gone to Burnham?
You're going to get some mail from that. leave that in. I won't say any more, but I guarantee
I'm trying to think of all your network, and I don't think anyone lives in Burnham.
There's a big fan of Burnham who listens. And by the way,
is she the one that lives quite nearby?
No.
Oh right. Oh really?
Its claim to fame, its selling point on its website, if you look it up, is home to Britain's shortest pier.
What, like a lord?
Well, it's high. Jeffrey Archer to be kneecapped.
Yeah, 3'6". Right.
Yeah, but it isn't really a claim to fame. Come to a seaside resort and the pier can be covered in about
That's a classic.
7 big strides.
Take a long walk off our shortest pier.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it would be better.
You should be into marketing.
Well, there you go. Where were we?
It was a good weekend.
Oh yeah,
And
Bournemouth being the shining light.
There were just 1 or 2 examples. Firstly,
hold on, you said shining. Oh, you're going to come on to?
Yeah, I thought it's not necessarily upmarket, but it's not grungy.
You just described it as Zombieland.
It was dystopian. It was like Shaun of the Dead, but with less laughs.
Because you guys were there. Well,
Shaun of the over 55s. In our first cafe we went, there was someone playing saxophone. I did record this actually. Playing saxophone in the background, but played without a breath, a medley of tunes.
Like circular breathing.
Literally, yeah. Did not stop going from one song. But we had that balanced against 5 or 6 people. This is about 10 in the morning. Very, very high on drugs with the biggest, I was going to say beatbox, that makes me sound old, but a biggest.
You are old.
What are they called nowadays?
Stereos.
That's even older, isn't it?
Ghetto blasters.
Oh, it had Dolby.
But like a portable one or like a
portable
PA?
one, but it was almost like a PA. And they were paying like really hardcore drum and bass, sitting in this cafe drinking cider.
Okay.
So the medley of the two
doesn't sound very Bournemouth, does it?
And then later on that evening, we just sat down because we couldn't get into anywhere because of COVID.
Hadn't occurred to me.
And we were just sitting watching, and I'm not minimizing this, and I'm not making fun. I'm not going. It just surprised me because it almost seemed to me more a reflection of how my past. And there was a couple of people basically mainlining lighter fuel in their mouth, just like a massive thing of lighter fuel, not even like a little one, a great big aerosol, just like getting completely wasted on it.
Blimey.
And there was a lot of drug use wherever we were going.
Was it out in the open?
Yeah. It's 5 p.m.
Blimey.
But there was a lot of people really off their heads, and it just felt, I don't know, it seemed...
And not in a, weekend, summer, it was just a bit more edgy.
Yeah, and it was just, there was a lot of places shut down, lots of places weren't opening, there was loads of signs saying we can't get any staff, so we're shut. It was like we went to one place and there was like about 10 empty tables, and they went, no, they're all booked, and we went, but there's no one sitting on them, and they went, but they're booked. Yeah, can we wait 10 minutes, and if no one comes, can we have them? And
a bit stressful for people who work in those places. There's an element of some people don't want to come back to work. Some people find difficult to get staff back in. But also, who would want to come in and do that with all the things you've got to think about? Yeah, I mean, we're probably going all the service levels of drops and stuff, but it's not just about remembering what table 7's having. It's all the other crap you've got to do, making sure everything's cleaned down and the regulations, and you've got to make sure everyone's tracking. It's just who would want that?
The
job
pub
right
we went
now?
to, we were sitting in the beer garden. They had TVs out in the beer garden. We were sitting in the beer garden. We'd all been sitting down drinking, and because we're old, like everyone's joints were seizing up. So we left our glasses on the table and stood up next to the table, and a woman came over and said, like, sorry, the manager's asked me to sit down. And I went, but this is
But we're old and we're stretching.
Yeah, right. This is a totally open. And I wasn't going to cause an argument. I wasn't going to go,
Just 'cause you're stood up just to have a drink, you mean?
We were standing up just to stand up to stretch. Right, okay. We weren't drinking.
Right.
It was literally, let's just stand. We've been sitting for
You're
2.5
not
hours.
allowed to stand. No.
And she went, you can't stand. And I went, but we're not drinking.
Yeah.
And she said, you can't stand.
That's what I mean.
You're just not...
You're
but
in a
it's
position
open.
where
it wasn't any roof or anything.
Isn't that a position where you've got to say it? You probably run the risk of being shut down. You don't want to be. No one wants to be saying that. So you can see why people don't want to go to work.
We weren't going to get funny with them. We understand. But the interesting thing for me was when I watched the England match, and obviously 40,000 people standing for the whole thing. I read it, and it's one of the test events. And when you go in, it's various things. You have to be tested. You have to be double vaccinated. Blah 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 blah. And one of the things is you have to have a mask on, except when you're sitting. So if it's a test event and 40,000 people are standing for the whole match, it isn't a test event.
No, you're right.
Because what are they testing? If the rules are you've got to be sitting. So it's like...
I like it when you do these things because you're bang on. You're like,
But the
This
rules
is
are,
nonsense.
we're going to see what happens for the spread when people have masks when they're stood up.
So people have gone, had a really good time, enjoyed themselves, and may have caught something.
Yeah.
Just like every other Saturday afternoon down the football. You know what I mean? It's been like that for centuries, isn't it?
Yeah.
People going out and
But how are you
something.
going to test it if your framework for the test is we're going to test people sitting down?
Wow. You need the control
group,
don't you? You need another Wembley where you're doing things differently or by the book,
Yeah.
And then compare and contrast, right? Yeah, it's bullshit.
So you've got to trace 40,000 people who would have given false addresses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going into a pub and they're going, have you got the app? I said, no, I haven't got the app. Can I have your name and address and mobile number? Like, who is going to give that in this day and age? Giving it.
That's someone chatting you up, mate. I know it's been a while. You normally go, yes, please, love.
Last thing on the chatting up, there was a hen party who approached, and in our group, we've got one or two suave and sophisticated.
Oh, yeah.
And so the hen group were naturally attracted to Tubbs and his natural charm. And anyway, long story short, the bride-to-be asked Tubbs how old he was, and I think he said 35 or something, which
lying git.
Yeah. And she went, oh, that's no good. And I think he was going,
oh shit, which number should I go?
Yeah.
36.
And
just keep going until 60.
No, I'm wrong. I remember now. I'm 40. Yeah. Anyway, she went, I'm looking for someone for my mum or my aunt. And then she saw
that wouldn't put him off.
And she looked at me and I thought, like, do you know what I mean? It's like,
I can imagine you had the same grin you've got now.
But the funny, why I'm laughing is that every time we went to a cafe, Wayne and Tubbs were calling me Pops or Dad.
Oh, right.
And so we were at one cafe where Tubbs said, excuse me, love, do you have a blanket for my dad? And another pub where they were going like, you can't be here for long because we're blah, blah, blah. And he went, it's all right, he has to be back to the care home shortly. And this guy goes, oh, have you got your bus pass? And I went, yeah. And sparked him out, obviously.
Yeah, totally.
With me Zimmer.
Oh, that's good. I don't know where I am, Mark. I was just kind of getting lost in your tales there. Do you know the difference between a coral and a sponge? Or you're not bothered?
You can't suck a coral, I guess.
Excuse me?
Well, you'd break your teeth, wouldn't you?
You could. We were talking about them, weren't you? Weren't we? Drinking dirty bathwater out of them.
There's no cowboys at the OK Sponge.
Oh, yeah, very good.
That isn't good. It's just contrived.
All right, when I don't comment on something, you're like, oh,
can't
win with you.
I've done this a lot
Contrived.
recently. I've come up with things
like
that
you.
people, they're not laugh out loud. People go, oh yeah, very clever. And it's like, I wish I hadn't said
What you're saying, you're losing your edge? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm almost being...
You're not funny anymore?
I'm being too funny. I'm being like...
Oh, right, you're being too clever.
Yeah.
Is these jokes
too big for your boots.
Are these jokes too rich for our listeners' blood? Is that what you're saying?
They're lost.
Yeah, get over yourself, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
When you got over yourself, come back and we'll try again, all right?
The best quote from
I can wait. Just however long it takes, go get over yourself.
The best quote from the weekend was someone explaining that they had quite a fierce temper. And he went, I can go from 0 to 0 just like that.
Amazing.
I went, that isn't a temper.
Yeah.
Anyways.
There are a difference between corals and sponges.
Yeah, there's massive change. Yeah, they're ridiculously different. That's
well,
like saying,
tell
what's
me
the difference between a jackal and a hippo?
Would you like to tell us?
Sponges are a living organism.
They're both living organisms. That's not a difference.
Yeah, but a sponge can move.
Right. Corals can as
well. Has free will.
Yeah.
Go on then.
Don't be like that.
I don't think it's a strange...
What?
Comparison.
All right.
Go on then.
What's the matter with you?
Just sparky.
Oh, so I can't be asked to do this, Mark.
No.
I'm tired. So, motivation and accountability. You're bringing this to the party, but I was just reading up on it, and they're different things. Obviously, is that where you were gonna?
Yeah.
Is that where you're gonna go?
Spot on.
Okay, it sounded like obvious when I said it, but
they're grouped together, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they're
very different things.
It's like anxiety and depression are linked together.
Yeah.
And we had that discussion before, didn't we? That anxiety is hot and depression is cold.
But But I think one of the good examples I found was a very simple example was think of motivation as the reason, the why you want to do something, and accountability ends up being the mechanism by which we make it happen, which is the how.
Yeah.
As a little example, the alarm clock that gets you up in the morning is not the motivation to get up, it's the backstop that someone puts in to hold themselves accountable for getting out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
The motivation is to be on time or to go for that run before you go to work.
Yes.
As a little example.
Yeah. I think the only thing I'd add, I agree with what you've just said. I think the only thing I'd add to the accountability, certainly in my job, is that it's almost the reporting, it's the proof of your actions. Or the proof that you haven't been able to do something. So the accountability is people say to me, I need to tell you that I've done this, or if I haven't done it, explain why. I have to be accountable for my successes and my failures. Because I think it's very easy with accountability to go, I didn't go for a run.
Well, for it to be, too back to elastic, too elastic in terms of its use and how you use it. Yeah.
So otherwise it's just like, you've got to let me off because I didn't do it.
Yeah. And also we've talked before about accountability and how we use it, because we've also talked quite a few times about how you tell someone you're going to do something, which makes you feel like you've done it. There's a kind of sense of accountability to that, a weird kind of sense of accountability to yourself. It's a false accountability, I guess.
Yeah.
I've said it out loud to someone, the idea that you've done it already.
Yes.
It's a false accountability, isn't it?
We had this discussion
There's nothing backing that up.
No.
Like you said, you haven't done it.
The danger is that you get praise for an intention.
Yeah.
And I think we've discussed this before. It's like, I'm going to join the gym and go 3 times a week. And people go, well done, that's great. If you never go, you've already got that validation.
Yeah.
And I think a number of people have continual false starts. I'm going to start that diet. I'm going to start the gym. I'm determined to do this. And I think we've discussed it before. I think there's a lot to be said about maybe sharing 1 or 2 things with 1 or 2 individuals. And then rather than the pronouncement of what you're about to do, I think the pronouncement is what you have done. So for the last 3 months, I haven't missed a gym session is a lot more powerful than I won't miss a gym session for the next 3 months.
Yeah. It's on the Tallahassee Democrat. I don't even know how I got onto it. But sometimes accountability will pretend to be motivation. It's a sneaky little trick that convinces many of us that to achieve success in our goals, we just need someone else to come and check to make sure we did what we said we would. The ruse works for a while because the accountability does add an element of urgency and excitement, mostly because we don't want to feel the shame or regret when we haven't followed through. But eventually the novelty wears off and we don't care as much about meeting the approval of others. Then the gig is up, accountability's true identity is revealed, and we're left with the realization that to keep making progress, we have to look away from others and towards ourselves. So it was a nice paragraph.
It's a great paragraph. And it's end of. It's a great paragraph.
It sounds obvious, of course, but it's not always, because I think the shame and regret is that thing, isn't it? It makes you bullshit yourself.
Yeah. And you can bullshit others, and you can, if a client says to me, I really was going to do X, Y, and Z, but you know how it is, and the kids had this, or work did that. I think just taking a step back, the quick chat we had beforehand is that I have a belief at the moment, and especially from this weekend, life does feel different. Society feels different. It feels, I can't put my finger on it. It's almost like...
We're not allowed to. You're not allowed to touch anything, yeah.
No.
Even if you wash your hands, you can't touch anything.
No. It's almost there's a sort of vigour and life and soul that going round at the weekend just felt quite... It didn't feel like it should do in the middle of summer at a seaside resort.
Well, I don't even think it's that kind of the false start we've had, like with, because one of the reasons I didn't want to come on the weekend is because it was going to be the unlock weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And all the hoo-ha that was around that, and just thought the last place I want to be is just not necessarily anything to do with COVID, just a town full of people who are just trying to make up for 18 months of lost drinking time.
Yeah.
I just thought, I just don't want to be in that. That's one of the main reasons. Not that I didn't want to hang out with you guys. But it's not a case of, it's been delayed, and I don't think it's even been delayed, and it's kind of, there's that disappointment now. I think maybe it's just, everyone's just had that one kick in the balls too many. It's kind of a lackluster kind of, I feel quite flat in terms of, I'm struggling with motivation more than accountability.
Yeah.
I
think everything, one of the expressions I used over the weekend is everything has a caveat. Everything in life now has a but. And one of the things that happened on therapy in the last couple of weeks, and I think this is valuable, is that what I'm trying to do, or what I've been encouraged to do, is to change but to and. It's when you use but to almost devalue your first sentence. Like,
is that a lack of self-confidence, or is that a lack of conviction, or all of those things?
Yeah, and it's you say a sentence or you say half a sentence, and the but is almost sort of, as I say, devaluing that first part of the sentence. There was something on the news, so Ibiza has been opened up, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Ibiza is opening up, but all the nightclubs have said there will be extra hygiene facilities.
Yeah.
But, so the but is like, they'll be opening up, but...
You got to accept that it might be slightly different than what you'd expect.
But if it's, Ibiza is now opening up and all the nightclubs are putting in extra hygiene, it's like, oh, that's good. They're opening up and they're putting extra hygiene. If it's, they're opening up, but it's like, oh... So what do you mean?
Well,
I'm going to have to...
language thing that we always talk about, isn't it? Just a word can change the whole...
Ibiza nightclub's opening up, positive, but they're putting in extra hygiene. So it's like they're opening up, but like, you know, you're going to have to do all these extra things, which might be a pain in the arse.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas the nightclubs in Ibiza are opening up and they're putting in extra hygiene to protect you.
So is that just a laziness? Is that a laziness, or is that a genuine kind of, I can't, you know, almost like a trading standards. I can't make a statement quite so bold because I've got to cover myself. With, you know,
and I think
it's not as good. It's literally not as good as I'm making it sound.
Yeah,
or it's not even, you know, arguably newsworthy.
Well, here's one. I'm absolutely determined to train 3 times this week, but work is very busy. Yeah. Therefore, here's my excuse.
Yeah,
I'm determined to train 3 times this week, and work is very busy. So that becomes the second one. Becomes despite working very busy.
Yeah.
And work is very busy.
Yeah, and also...
So I'm going to do both. The second one saying I'm going to train and work is very busy.
But also, if you're talking about training, it doesn't matter whether work's busy or not.
Yeah.
It's almost, you're starting to bring that in.
Yeah.
I know there's a difference between but and, but almost what's the relevance of if you've been busy?
Yeah, it's a bit like the coral and sponge analogy. So what I wanted to say, I just wanted to give... We were saying a couple of weeks ago about getting back to the physical fitness and not necessarily giving takeaways, but this is just, I think this might just resonate with some people who are going to go, actually, yeah, I'm in this position. So this is what I want to describe. Obviously, I have a whole range of clients and they have different things going on in their lives. And there are some people that are going to have restrictions, whether it can be work or children or other things. And I know I'm in a privileged position exercise-wise that I've got a gym, I can exercise every day, I've got a flexible job. And so for me to come and go to somebody, right, I know you're a 35-year-old mother with a full-time job and 3 kids under 8, but you should be exercising
pull
more.
your finger out.
Yeah, and that isn't necessarily going to be that easy.
Yeah.
But it comes back to something you said quite a few pods ago. There's the same number of hours in the day for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's how you choose to use them. And what I'm finding is a very big division. I've trained 3 people today whose motivation has been off the scale. So each of the 3, one is traveling 2-hour round trip twice a week to train with me.
Yeah.
That is a big commitment.
Yeah.
The second person I had to cancel their session and they basically said, you know, I've got to come and train with you. Can you fit me in here? And as soon as I got that text, I changed something else to ensure that person, because obviously their motivation was high. And the third person just came and just went, I'm going to do this. I'm going to smash that. This is the start. And like such an enthusiasm. And what I'm finding is that there's a very big split between people who are going, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do it for myself. I don't even need to be accountable to you. I'm telling you, this is what I'm going to do. And that for me is a massive difference from someone going, can you set me some goals? Or what should I be doing?
Yeah.
Or what do you think? These people have all come.
Is this on brand for these people? Just as a little bit of context or background. Is this a surprising move?
It's on brand, but what's happened
Or is it
today,
like another level? You know, is something
another
gone up
level.
In terms
it's
of
another level.
In terms of those individuals?
The first person has come to me and said, I've been away this weekend. I've been talking about weights the whole weekend. I've been talking about bone density. I'm going to look at closing my window. So sort of intermittent fasting. I've been reading about it.
Okay.
That's how I'm going to get a calorie deficit. This is how much weight I'm going to lose. This is fantastic. Work me hard. And so the accountability isn't going, can you just keep giving me a prod to make sure I do it? The person was telling me that that's their plan.
And
They've
also
already initiated it.
I was going to say, it's not just telling you the plan.
Yeah, it
They're
started
telling
already.
you what they... Yeah.
And
what
I've
they've
just
already
driven
done.
an hour, and
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah,
work out,
yeah.
and then I'm going to drive another hour.
Yeah.
And that person, it wasn't, and I'm not putting this on an Insta story to go look at me. It's like, I'm telling you as my coach, this is where I'm at. The second person said to me, I'm going to lose £5 before a wedding. I'm going to do 10,000 steps every day.
Yeah.
I'm going to get in control of my food. And I'm not going to miss this session because this session is the catalyst. That was the exact word she used.
Yeah.
This session is the catalyst for the rest of my week.
Yeah.
She doesn't need me to motivate herself. She's going to be a bridesmaid. Me going, you need to lose £4 has nothing in terms of influence as being seen on wedding photos, wanting to lose £4.
Yeah, right.
She doesn't need me to event a motivation. She wants to look good. And the third person, which I haven't said the other two by name, but the third one was Wayne. And he came back and said, I've been drinking all weekend. I've been eating kebabs. I feel so strong. I felt so good.
I'm going to carry on drinking and eating kebabs.
Do you think I'll lose weight? But yeah, and he was also, the language he was using was saying, having gone away with the weekend with the lads, I wasn't getting teased.
But he's been working really hard though.
Yeah.
Hasn't he?
But he kept saying, I feel strong. He would still like to lose weight, but I'm feeling strong. I felt good. I felt good all weekend. And,
Yeah. Good.
And so those three people, in a way, have summed up for me. They've encapsulated motivation and accountability. Their motivation is one of them wants to look good, full stop.
Yeah.
One of them wants to look good for a wedding. Yeah. And one of them has decided that being strong is good, and they've achieved that. But if they then lose a bit of weight, that's going to be the cherry on top of the cake. Yeah. So they've all got their individual motivations. They don't need me. I can't motivate them enough in some ways. And I don't think my role is to motivate. My role around accountability is to go, you told me this a week ago, how's it going? Yeah. Or you told me to drop you a line just to check that you have done 10,000 steps every day. So the accountability is then coming back to me and going, actually, I've only done 8, but you've reminded me I'm going to be accountable. Yeah. But it has to be, exactly as you said, accountable to yourself. Yeah. They can't have me as some sort of vicarious, But
that happens a lot, doesn't it? You are used as that.
Yes.
I guess leaving a lot of stuff at your door as if you're going to take that on as a personal challenge. Yeah. And kind of turn their life around.
Yes.
And it's like, well, you can play your part, but that's not, you can't go and pick them up from their house, bring them to your gym.
And it goes back to
you can't put the weights in their hands. That's
the paragraph you said was about accountability and motivation has to come from yourself. And it's the same that we've discussed with things on mental health around addiction. I know from my addictions, every single person in the world who they didn't know at the time, but if they had known at the time, gone, for God's sake, why are you doing this? Yeah. It isn't sensible. You should stop doing it. This isn't going to be good in the long run. You're, going to destroy yourself if you keep doing this. But it was only when I got to a position of making that decision that I was going to stop my addiction. It doesn't matter what anybody... You can use other people there as support, and other people can say, I'm going to help you by doing this, this, and this.
Yeah, and all the reasons why you're doing it are there.
Yeah.
That they're a matter of fact. You can't change them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can't go back and rewrite or reprogram yourself or whatever it is, can you?
No, because I knew when I had an addiction.
No, we all do.
I knew all the effects it was having on me.
And but I think because we know and we're embarrassed, that kind of shame and guilt or whatever, we have those because we know. We wouldn't try and convince ourselves or others, bullshit ourselves or others, if we didn't know what we should be doing. Yes. If we're totally oblivious to it or ignorant of that, don't have the knowledge or the education. Yeah. We wouldn't even say anything, would we?
If someone comes to me and said, I'm eating 3 packets of biscuit a day, is that bad for me in terms of weight loss? I could go, that's 2,000 calories or 4,000 calories. Yeah. If you're in calories surplus, you will put on weight. And if they go, oh, great, now I know I won't eat biscuits. But if someone knows that and has trained with me and then comes, I've put on 4 pounds and what have you been doing? I've been eating biscuits. My motivation, the motivational speech I can give is like, don't eat biscuits. I can't inspire somebody. Do you know what I mean? It's not Martin Luther King. It's like
the famous "Don't eat biscuits" speech of 2021.
But do you know what I mean? It's like this person knows we can put in strategies together. We can have a discussion about, but the motivation for people training with me is to get to fit and healthy, to live their life longer, to live their life better. There's nothing I can say motivationally that is going to be any higher than if you do this, you won't die as quickly and the intervening years won't hurt as much. You know, the biggest motivation has got to be, and the same way of giving up an addiction, me going, you shouldn't continue to do this. The biggest motivation should know that if you carry on some addictions, you'll die. There can't be a bigger motivation than that.
No.
And as long as you've been told that cigarettes or drugs or drink will kill you, and I think people can be supportive. I'm not knocking that. People can...
Yeah, of course.
Support or ask or inquire or give little hints or tips and go, I've heard this.
But the nucleus has to be in your own
And that's
hands,
what you
right?
said in that first paragraph. It does come down to you. But the second point I wanted to make is those three examples today were all people I was going to train yesterday, who I've trained today, and they've just been so fired up. I think the difficulty is, I think people who aren't in that position for whatever reason, I think going back to our first bit is that the current society's current stupor is having an effect on people in terms of their own personal motivation, because there's a general, you use the word lackluster. I think it's become easy to, I haven't gone into work for 18 months. Going into work is giving me anxiety.
I say it's easy, but I know what you mean. Because I feel I'm in that group.
Sorry, what did I say? I forgot what I said.
No, you just said it's easy to, I guess, get into that kind of mindset. I guess whatever you didn't say that, but...
I think it's a habit.
And I just said
I know when I was unemployed,
I know what you mean.
I did a lot less when I was unemployed than when I'm working. I don't mean in terms of work, but in terms of activity.
No, absolutely right. It's okay relaxing, not doing anything, but that becomes...
the norm?
Yeah.
And I think that's what...
I personally think... maybe it's a comfort thing, but I mean, there's the kind of element about, busyness kind of breeds busyness or...
Yeah. Well, the thing I was going to say is that when you get used to... And I'm not knocking, there's loads of people listening to this who worked the whole way through lockdown. I'm not going, everyone's become lazy because of lockdown.
Yeah.
But a lot of the activities that we used to do, whether it was going to the theatre, going to the cinema, going to a football match, have been taken out. So we don't go to things anymore.
No, you're right.
We go walking, but we don't go to activities.
I went to a barbecue on Saturday night. I was exhausted afterwards. Absolutely beaten. I wasn't massively sociable, but the whole thing, I was done. Yeah. Even just kind of the energy of being with other people is actually it's really dramatic, but that's how I felt. It's just, you get out of practice, don't you? You get out the muscle memory of
a lot of people are
things.
saying to me, I don't really want to be around people quite so much, or I don't really want to.
It's like not driving for 6 months. You get in the car and you just, you're driving like you've only just started. Everyone's have to learn again. The muscle memory is a really big part of that. Confidence is a big part of that.
Yes.
I'm feeling that, definitely.
But what I'm feeling in terms of the motivation and accountability is that some of my clients, I feel, are finding it difficult to engage because I think they're finding their ability to invest in themselves tends to almost be refined into a tiny, tiny window. So it's, I'm going to work out with Mark for this hour because that's what I do. And then once that's done for the week. And I can cross that off because my life, because of a whole number of things, is very compartmentalized. We don't have the freedom. We don't have I can go wherever I want. I can do whatever I want. It's I'm going to do that on this day.
Yeah.
And I think what's happening with a number of people is that the mindset from society is that everything is controlled and everything is, you will do this. And if you are going to do this, you've got to be vaccinated, or you've got to have a test, or you've got to do blah, 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 blah.
Have we forgotten what it's like to take control of our own lives?
Yes, in the same way that we've forgotten in some ways to take control of our own health. And we're seeing more and more things on social media going the government have let me down, or the government should have told me this. So the point I'm making is that I think when people have got a small window of opportunity for exercise, if that window gets shut through something being cancelled or something else coming up, it's almost like, I'll revisit that next week. Yeah. Our sort of flexibility of thinking on the spur of the moment, it's well, no, my life is very, very controlled. I can't suddenly find another hour just like that. What I don't get is if I say to someone, I'm having to cancel your session, I don't get them going, can you let me know what dates are free? I'm getting, thanks for letting me know, see you next week. And I think, and that isn't always because it's their personal decision. Some people are ringing me up and going, I'm having to cancel because my child has been sent home from school and there's childcare.
Yeah.
So I'm totally not going, you're trying to get out of exercise, 100%. But society as a whole, for some people, is going, you got to look after your kid. You're then going to have to sacrifice your exercise. Yeah. But would there be a way, maybe 18 months ago, of saying, I'm going to ask someone to look after my kid and I'll exercise? And then they're going, well, no, I can't because they're sent home from school. Yeah. Although they're perfectly healthy, someone that they were near might have COVID. Therefore, I can't bring in a babysitter to look after my child because they're isolating. Yeah. And that's not fair on the childcare.
And it doesn't sound dramatic. There's such an overhead to those things, isn't there?
Yeah.
That is just actually really kind of hard to deal with and process.
And it's easier just to go, sorry, I can't come.
Yeah. It's easier just to not do the other thing because it's taken up too much of everything.
But 2 years ago, if your child had been sent home from school and you had an hour that you wanted to go and exercise, and you would say to your mother, your sister, your next door neighbour, can you do childcare? That's what used to happen. You would look after, or the child would go around someone else's house and play. Yeah. And now this whole thing, the child can't leave the house, I can't leave the house, I can't talk. And I think people are just so scared. It's exactly what you're saying. It's almost like, fuck it, I'll do as I'm told because I don't really have an alternative. I can't ask someone to do childcare just in case. And I think that the damaging thing for me is that once that habit gets broken and you get out of the habit of exercise, and that's why I think there's such a great division that the people who are going, I'm absolutely going to smash this. And we discussed this at the beginning of lockdown. Yeah. People used to say, what would you love to have? I'd love to have enough time that I could exercise 3 times a week. You're on furlough for 6 months. What have you done? Yeah. Nothing. It's only you that can really provide that motivation to yourself. But I'm really worried that people are getting out of the habit. Yeah, I think so. It's just too awkward now. Yeah. So I've given up my gym membership. I used to go to an external gym. Right. Just don't want the hassle. I don't know if you can use the showers there still. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the little things have become big barriers.
Yeah.
That's the best way of trying to put it. Like a lot of things in life, when you break them down to the individual components, you go, well, now I'm looking at that in a more kind of isolated, concentrated light. That looks it sounds so trivial. But they're massive, aren't they? Just the amount of time it takes to process it, Percy, to do something about it, I don't know to add it on here, but I got on the scales this morning. I haven't got on this because we were talking about this in the weight room. You actually asked me, have you been on the scales? I'm like, no. Yeah. And that's that thing where you know what it's going to be, but you don't want to look. Yeah. And I just thought, I've just got to do something. I've got to do something. So I've got to do something.
Okay.
And this is all kind of very apt.
I will be around tomorrow morning.
I'm feeling beaten and broken and that kind of, but I'm turning up to those, that's all very good, but we all know it's not just those 2 hours a week I have with you. Yeah. I'm finding plenty of reasons not to, plenty of barriers. Yeah. And you know what? Some of those barriers are actually more effort to put in the way of what I'm trying to do than to not. Yes. I totally know that. It upsets me, that does, that I can't sit here and go, I haven't got time, I haven't got this, I haven't got that, because I've got plenty of time to put barriers in the way to stop me doing what I know I need to do. And sometimes I can't quite get myself out of that. No. So, I can come and train with you, but it's the bits when I'm not with you that I do need to really knuckle. And that isn't just another hour or two. It is almost every hour. Yeah. It's having a word with yourself. Yeah. Thinking about food just depresses me. Yeah. I'm not massively interested. I find it such an overhead. There's plenty of other things I'd rather do. Yeah. But not just facing that head on is a problem. Once I get that right, everything else should be fair. You know what I mean? That is an effort. That kind of resistance to it is an effort. Yeah. And I know full well, that's what kind of just so annoyed with myself even saying it, that making the effort to make it right will make less effort for me. Yes. Yeah. Give you an easier life. Yeah, and I'm not. Why am I not doing it? I hope I think other people will feel like that. Sometimes there's no rational reason why. Yeah, and this isn't a blame thing. You fucking know it is. You just know it deep down. You just kind of. I'm just in the habits. There's lots of habit stacking, but they're not the habits I want. Yeah, yeah. But I think I've got more. Talking about the stacks are actually quite high. They don't need to be that high. They're full of habits that I've just put in the way. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah. Saying it out loud just doesn't make any sense to me. No. Because if I was listening to myself, I'd just go, just snap out of it. Just stop doing it. Sometimes I say to people, it's just like a switch. Just rather than doing that, just don't do that. It's quite a binary decision. We have all the evidence. When I was binge eating recently, I
I think I've probably said on this, but I was binge eating like badly, as if there's a good binge eating.
Yeah.
Yeah, double-deckers and hula hoops, that isn't bad. I haven't binge eaten before. And when I was doing it, there's no way you can have, I don't know, 6 chocolate bars and 9 packets of crisps and go, there's anything good about this or it's going to help me. And so all the logic went out the window.
Yeah.
And it's no good going, have a word with yourself. You have
and
to work
and
through
3 bars in thinking about your 4th.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You don't finish 9, how many bars was it? You don't finish 9 bars and go, what the hell just happened there?
Yeah.
Oh,
everyone has a choice.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I was in that position, and the rational choices go out. And I think what I was saying about how society is and the peppering we're getting from the mainstream media is some bad decisions. I was just looking at something when I was in the hotel. I hadn't realised, because I don't really watch TV. Adverts are just basically eat stuff. Just keep eating.
Eat stuff and buy technology.
Yeah,
that encourages you to do it, apart from your Pelotons and stuff like that. But even so, that's not go out and see the world, get on a bike. That's stick a really expensive bit of kit in the corner of your penthouse apartment and never fucking touch it again, right?
But food is everywhere.
Yeah.
And just seeing, sometimes we went shopping to get a couple of things over the weekend, and it's like there are a whole aisle on soft drinks. There's a whole aisle on crisps. There's a whole aisle on chocolate. And I suddenly realised it's just, when we were away this weekend, we did not have we had sort of one, but not really. We didn't have a proper meal. We had cooked breakfast. I couldn't face the sausages because I didn't know what they were made from. It was hard to tell. And the rest was snacks and Greg's. And I was eating something from Greg's, and I'm thinking, this isn't food. It was just moisture inside a case of cardboard. It was.
Sure, this is Greg's, not
Smith's.
Smith's.
It's the moist cardboard patty.
You're eating a piece of stationery or something. I mean, what crazy
That's in the
weekend.
cookery section. No, but I didn't eat properly. But the level of food that I did eat was appalling. It was barely food, some of it. And it's like, it's too easy just to do that. If I'm falling into that as a PT and all my nutritional, then I'm not criticising people that are in that position. I'm just saying, I think life is just sort of forcing us into that corner quite often. It's quite a hard corner to break out of at the moment.
Yeah, I think so.
I think we go back to our little small steps. I think I have a voice inside my head. I talk to myself. I hear my voice. I speak. When I'm making bad decisions, my voice tells me to do it. Sometimes when I'm having a word with myself. And one of the things I got in therapy is it said you can change the tone of that voice. Because that voice is controlled by your brain. So I will talk to myself, or I will hear something being said, but the way you speak, it's like changing a font, isn't it? You can have the same words in different fonts and they appear different. If you have them in Comic Sans, you get cross, and so that voice can maybe be
it's a good way of putting it,
sort of more helpful or more empathetic or more understanding. Instead of going, you prick for having 4 double deckers, it's like, okay, you don't feel good about that. Let's almost have a discussion with ourselves.
Yeah. And
I know this sounds really simplistic, but I think...
But that's the frustrating thing. It is.
Yeah.
It actually is.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah. This is helping a lot of people.
Yeah, I sound like all the mental health podcasts I hate.
Yeah.
Just snap out of it. Turn that frown upside down. You know what I mean? But it is. The step is simple. But we're complicated creatures, and there's a lot of stuff behind that decision.
Yeah,
I think
too simplistic to say just stop it.
Yeah, it is. I'm not saying that at all. But I think it's in that moment, like that's a good tip to change the tone of voice.
Yes.
In that moment when you are literally on the, shall I buy that thing that I shouldn't buy to eat?
Yeah.
Or I've got time to go out for a bike ride, and I'm thinking of every reason why I should not go out. Right? It's in that moment. I think that's why Mel Robbins introduces the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, because it allows you to kind of stop, take, and just maybe is having a word with yourself and just changing the pace of your thinking or whatever it is, breaking out of the bad habit. I keep referencing that. Maybe I need to bring that in and do. I've thrown that in a handful of times about Mel Robbins and the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And what I need to do is probably give that 10 minutes and talk to people about it. But I think for me, it's in that moment is breaking that habit. So the association's still there, but it's a different action. the reason you don't is because there's a need. There's a need, whatever that need is.
Yes.
So that's
You're
comfort
fulfilling a need. Yeah, totally.
or self-punishment and
yes.
whatever the reason is. What do we replace that with? It's easy to go, when you're not drinking, go have a drink that looks like an alcoholic drink, doesn't make anyone in the pub or your mates ask questions, and you feel,
But if you need alcohol to get through the night, it doesn't.
That's why vaping works, because it's still the action of smoking, but without,
although loads of it does have nicotine in it, doesn't it? So.
But it's,
I physically hear the voice in my head and I can alter. And I guess the sort of takeaway for me is if I text somebody and go, I'm really sorry I'm having to cancel today. If the voice goes, your session's cancelled, you're not training this week. If that's what your voice tells you, if your voice was more empathetic and understanding, it might go, if you're not going to do that, maybe we'll go on a half hour run. Or maybe it'll go, could you text Mark and see if he could fit you in for a 40-minute session because you're time poor at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think because stuff is too much hassle, it's easy for your voice to go, right, that's cancelled. That's the end of the conversation. Instead of saying, well, let's look for an and. My session's cancelled and I still could do something.
Yeah.
When I was in the hotel, when we were away, I suddenly realised that staying in the hotel was a different experience. And although the hotel was very good, everything was different. So there was no teas and coffees. And the remote control was in a sterilised bag. The rest of the room wasn't in a sterilised bag.
Yeah, they didn't put you in a sterilised bag.
And I didn't lick it as normal. And there was things like the room wasn't cleaned between the 2 nights because of COVID. And I'm thinking, but it was cleaned when I left. So wouldn't it be better to have cleaned it? Or is that because they don't want to put the person cleaning the rooms at risk? But she was going in the following day anyway. And wouldn't it be better if I had clean towels? And everything became quite...
Well, I think that's the level of admin.
Yes.
In all of these ordinarily simple daily tasks.
Yeah.
Just grown out of all proportion, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's easier just to be resigned to things, I think. Yeah. I think that's...
So we've got more... We have got more time, but we've got no time because of all the extra admin.
Yeah. I think that's my takeaway. It's the resignation. Maybe the voice in your head, if someone is saying your usual opportunity for exercise has been taken away, I wonder whether the voice in your head could go, so how am I going to replace it? Rather than I'm just accepting that. I think that's, and the 3 people I spoke about today, they've basically said, I'm going to find an opportunity to train.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that it's a different day or a different time, or I'm determined to train. So the voice in their head is like, gone, you find a way to do it.
Yeah.
Rather than accept that for this week you've missed it.
So I like the fact we're just embracing voices in our heads. That's a great... You know all those voices in your heads? Don't worry about them. Why just have a chat with them? Have a sit down and a cup of tea and
feel at ease.
Discuss their tone. What I have got for you, Mark, is life hacks.
Okay.
I brought some back. I decided to bring them back.
Good. That's the voice in my head overriding.
That was the script you were reading that I wrote for you. Muffin to see here. Use a muffin tin to serve condiments at a barbecue.
Okay.
It's quite a good idea because then you'll cut down on washing up.
Life hack part 2.
What have you got in addition to my muffin to see here? Okay.
Yeah. What? There's more than muffin to see here. Use muffin tins to bake Yorkshire puddings.
Everyone does that, Mark.
Oh. Do they?
What else would you use? Do you have a special...
Good point.
I love it though.
That wasn't as impressive as I thought. Okay, carry on.
BLT or not to be. If you don't have... You love this one. If you don't have a toasty maker, but have a toaster with wide enough slots...
Yeah.
Put 2 pieces of bread into the single slot and then toast it. Yeah. And then you have 2 pieces of bread, each with a toasty outside, a crust, nice toasted out, and a soft inner.
Yeah.
Then if you butter the inside, you can put your BLT and you get like a toasty. Good, right? Yeah. I knew you'd love it. I knew you'd love it. I was waiting for that face. Nutty advice. Rub a walnut on damaged wooden furniture to cover up the dings. Yeah. I tell you what, it's award-winning stuff, this, isn't it?
Pure gold. Rub a walnut?
A walnut, yeah.
On anything?
What did I say? Did
on
I
a
just
wooden
say
device?
Yeah.
You said device. Did you say device?
No, you weren't even listening to me, Mark. So if I got a scar on my leg, you don't rub a walnut on it and it'll disappear. It's not what I said, was it?
I thought you said on a wooden device.
No, on wooden
Like
furniture.
a wheel. Wooden furniture. So like a pine furniture.
Wooden furniture. Do you want to go through all the woods? just to...
I can't see the trees.
Yeah. Anyway, Try it and be amazed. If I had a walnut here, I would rub it.
A shelled walnut, I guess.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Yes.
Okay.
We don't eat a shelled walnut, do you?
An unshelled walnut.
Jesus Christ!
That's 3 times you said that. People are going to be leaving.
What? Because I said the Lord's name in vain. How are your tattoos? You got any tattoos while you were away?
It's still ongoing.
Are you going to do it? I was thinking about it the other day. Do you know what kind of said you wouldn't be able to carry it off, and not because they wouldn't look good on you. I think just your personality wouldn't carry it along.
Okay.
You've almost got to go full bore. I don't think you can go halfway house.
No, I can't. It's got to be like...
I wasn't thinking like just a face.
Dolphin.
Yeah, and a cross
and a
tear. Yeah.
3 tears from
But
the
I think
murders.
you'd have to go
Bullseye.
full bore. Either double sleeve, across the chest, across the back.
Quad, I was thinking. Quad up to hip. But you see, I want religious imagery.
That's what I mean, but I think it's
I
got
want,
to be like...
Fat off Virgin Mary.
Yeah, but it's got to be like Da Vinci levels of detail.
Yeah.
It's got to be...
Intricate.
Works of art. Yeah, you're going to have to go
Sistine
for
Chapel
weeks
on my leg.
Yeah. I think it needs to be better than that. I don't think that's very good. I think it needs to be absolutely on the money. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
I think you'd probably do it. But not like colour, full colour.
I want some colour.
Yeah, some colour, but not like full.
No. Someone was picking up your crayoning skills of the weekend.
Who? I
Someone.
haven't been on the crayons in years.
Someone
so
said you're like good at drawing.
it's probably Russ because he always talks about crayons.
Okay. But that's your background, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm. Maybe you could design my tattoo.
No, I wouldn't want the job.
Is that like doing wedding invites?
Wedding invites.
Old
Well,
reference.
yes and no. I wouldn't do that.
No.
No.
The original Coca-Cola had 3.5 grams of cocaine in each bottle.
What's this got to do with anything?
I don't know. It's just going through stuff.
Right, I'll wrap up. I just think that Sancho's going to United for 73 million. News just in.
It's a good price.
I thought it'd be more than that.
Well, if Harry Kane's worth 100 million, then Sancho's got to be worth about 250 million.
Yeah. And also, before we came on air, NHS plans booster jab for those 50 and over before winter. The 3rd jab.
Oh, is that because Pfizer have done some research and said we need a 3rd jab?
Yeah, I don't know about... I didn't read anything about Pfizer, didn't mention any brands. But as I said, we'll need to ensure protection against flu as well as maintaining a protection against COVID. They reckon it's going to be Professor Jonathan Van Tam.
Yeah.
We want to be on the front foot of COVID.
Have a look at some of his funding.
To keep the probability of loss of vaccine protection due to waning immunity or variants as low as possible. They also said is going to, flu's going to make a massive reset. Well, they've suddenly made a prediction that it's going to be the worst flu season ever. It's just more reasons to
be cheerful.
That's it for this episode. Well done for getting this far, and thanks for listening to us. Give us a follow on Instagram at I'mFinecast, and email us if you like, or give us a review on Apple if you like.
Yeah.
In the next episode, I'm going to have to roll all the smells. The smell and the sense is very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting, yes. We could cover my new fitness regime.
Yeah, we could have an update.
And also I want to bring back in the 68 as well. I think I just need a total overhaul.
You do?
Of my diary, yeah.
Yeah. So you're going to be a guinea pig for...
I'd like to be a guinea pig and
brain,
have some...
mind and
yeah,
body.
and, be very open about where I'm at and where I'm going, and then we can kind of keep putting that in as a regular thing.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's good.
Cool. Because I got on the scale, got some of those fancy scales that talk to you, and I got on and said...
No coach parties.
That's even better. Right. We done?
Yeah.
Right. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, see
Bye.
you. Bye.